You want to talk about hypergamy? The most hypergamous person on the planet is her father. You know, if a young man wants to date a young woman, well, he's got to get through her father first, traditionally speaking. You know, and when a young man meets a young woman's father, he's gonna hit him with a whole arsenal of questions. You know, what do you do for a living? Where do you go to college? What's your major? What are your life goals? You know, all of these questions center around earnings potential. You know, if you want to make a young woman's heart throb, all you got to do is be handsome. But if you want a serious relationship with a young woman, you got to satisfy her father's hypergamy. Now, hypergamy gets a bad rep, but hypergamy is a good thing. You know, it's the driving force of evolution. The idea for human beings is that each generation is a little bit better than the last. So if the female reproductive strategy is to reproduce with only top-tier men, then that means human beings will continue to evolve. That's how evolution works. You know, and they call my generation the degenerate generation. And it's kind of hard to argue. You know, we are the first generation, or I should say, the most fatherless generation. You know, not quite the first generation to grow up without fathers, but the most fatherless generation for sure. When you take the father out of the home, you almost completely eliminate hypergamy. You know, a lot of these young women that grow up fatherless become strippers, prostitutes, Instagram models. You know, they're more worried about their Snapchat scores than they are finding a good husband. So, it only makes sense that we would become degenerates. You know, I see women becoming pen pals with men that are in prison. Women would rather date a criminal with absolutely no future than a college-educated, you know, your typical traditional husband type of man. Not all of them, but I'm saying in my generation, this just seems to happen a lot. You know, a lot more than it probably would have happened in the past. And the reason for this is because the father is progressively being removed from the home. When you take the father out of the home, you take the hypergamy out of humanity, which will cause, you know, some sort of degenerative issues, so to say. You know, women with strong fathers don't typically date the bad boys, the thugs, the drug addicts, the losers. You know, women that have strong fathers typically go for the quarterbacks, the doctors, you know, the point guards, the engineers, the guys that have goals, the successful guys, you know, the top tier guys. They don't go for the bottom tier guys. It's the women that grow up fatherless that end up settling for the bottom tier guys. So if you want to save the human race, you have to save hypergamy. We will regress as human beings without hypergamy. We need it. It is essential. It's the driving force to evolution. We have been evolving for thousands of years as human beings. We need to keep this cycle going. Hypergamy is what keeps it going. And who brings the hypergamy? The father brings the hypergamy. So if we want to keep evolution, you know, the ball of evolution rolling, we have to put the father back in the home. And if we want to put the father back in the home, we have to restructure divorce laws, you know, child support, you know, custody battles. We have to fix this. When women have all of these incentives that they have to get divorced, you know, if a woman wants to live the high life, all she's got to do is marry a successful man. You know, then all she's got to do is divorce him. Then she still lives the high life with all of his money and resources. And then she gets to move on to another guy and double dip. And if she chooses to, she can move on from that guy. She can triple dip, quadruple dip. She can collect child support from 3 different men. And then find a new, you know, a new guy to fill the role. And if we continue this pattern, evolution will stop. It will be halted. We will become degenerates. That's not the direction we want to go. So it's time we stop giving hypergamy such a bad rep, and we start supporting hypergamy, supporting fathers, and restoring evolution to its proper state. Anyways, guys, I hope this video was somewhat insightful. That's about it. LFA signing out.